I want to share a story with you about the importance of seizing the moment if the opportunity to be your own real-life Cinderella presents itself. And not the Cinderella who had to clean a bunch of shit and had an unmanageable animal infestation in her room. The one that rode in the drop-top pumpkin and had glass for shoes. That's the Cinderella I want to be. I had to bippity-boppity-boo out of town for a little thing called work. You've heard of it. And where was my work obligation? None other than Atlantic City, baby. We back! Then after this episode, please feel free to go back to the Asher Rogers episode and you can hear all about the last time I stayed there. This time was also great, except I wasn't staying at the East Coast Hotel Cecil, aka the Madison Boardwalk Hotel. We did, however, drive by it, my suggestion, and it was quote-unquote closed for renovations. Renovations is likely code for murder. Could have been me. First, I gotta give you the deets of Atlantic City. America is failing a lot of its cities right now, and AC is no exception. I tried to go into a regular Walgreens, and it was in fact not regular. It was The Walking Dead. Line all the way through the entire store. I don't know what they were buying, because the shelves were completely empty. And if they weren't empty, all the products were on the floor. And if they weren't on the floor, they were locked up. Your girl just needed some makeup removers and some tamps. Well, I was shit out of luck, because the tamps looked like they were only stopping bloody noses, and the makeup wipes were MIA. I stopped a gentleman who either worked there or was finna quit. "Excuse me, sir. This your finest selection of tampons, or you got some in the back? And where, perhaps, are your makeup removers?" "Listen, we can't stock the shelves because they steal everything, and this isn't even my home store. I'm just helping out. Best of luck to you." Best of luck to you. At a Walgreens in America. Granted, this was Atlantic City, so luck is their motto, but I guess the point is vote in local elections, research your ballots, or you're going to bleed through your jeans. Change happens at the bell bottom. Anyway, I walked out. But then things took a turn for the very nice, because we went out for a delicious steak dinner. Then we went over to the Hard Rock Cafe, and they had live music that any 1990s baby chuggy reppin' G would love. After the band ended, we headed over to play blackjack. I taught one of my girlfriends how to play, and I just have to shout out our dealer, Tatiana. If you want a friendly, kind, perfectly paced, and good energy dealer in Atlantic City, go visit Tatiana over at the Hard Rock, the coolest. And if you visit her, tell her Rocky sent you. And start the introduction with a tip. Because if you got it like that to gamble, you got it like that to tip your dealer. It's good for your karma. And if you tip in the beginning, she's not screwed when you're out of money at the end. Thanks for the fun, Tatiana. See you next time. Then we moved to another table, where a guy kept saying, "You look like Lenny Kravitz." She looks like Lenny Kravitz. He meant it in a cool way, and although it was midnight and he was sloppy wasted, he said it 5 times as if the first 2 weren't enough. But Lenny Kravitz is pretty fucking cool. I won $60, but before you all slide into my DMs and ask if you can hold some of it, I had to cash it in. I'm standing in line, and there was a man behind me, and whew, he was fine. I see those girls on Instagram where they shake their asses, shooting their shot to guys on piers, on beaches across America. I wasn't in a bikini, and I wasn't at a pier, but I had to give it a go. You must be doing pretty good if you're here cashing in your chips. Yeah, I am actually. It's my birthday, and my boys are all passed out upstairs. Oh my gosh, happy birthday. Blah, 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 flirting, blah, 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 flirting. Then I get called up to cash in my chips, and he gets called up to cash in his chips. And then as I'm walking away, I turn around and I hand him my Wild Nights business card, and I say, "What's your name?" "I'm Eric." I've wanted to bang an Eric since the summer going into 8th grade where me and Eric Matakaitis rode the Ferris wheel like Marky Mark and Reese Witherspoon without the finger banging. Real shame. So there you have it. A glass slipper in the form of a business card. Your move, Prince Charming.
Duh.
Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, did you have a great week? I sure hope so. I hope you danced, laughed, boned, and got stoned. These are a few of my favorite things. Before I get started, it seems I must do a public service announcement. It's to men, because in this particular problem area, we aren't in fact equal. Your track record sucks overall in this department, and you need to do better. Allow me to elaborate. If you are a man hosting a party, and you are introducing yourself to a woman for the first time, and she puts her hand out to shake yours, but you hug her instead, you're a creepy fucking sleaze. A creepy motherfucking sleaze. Do better, because if I witness something like that again, it's gonna be a real prob, Bob. And we don't want no problems! Respecting a woman's boundaries is kindness and humanity. So be kind and humane. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all those who observed. If you know me or you're a listener of the pod, you know ya girls, a proud Black Irish woman. That means I can two-step and step dance. If you wore a Kiss Me I'm Irish button, t-shirt, or sticker this St. Patrick's Day and you are not in fact Irish, that is cultural appropriation. So go drunk, you're home. Shout out to my family in Ireland, especially Noreen and Martin. I love you guys. I lost my headphones in Kaylee's car, and before I could order a pair of new ones, my brother found them. But I haven't gone back to headphone life. I've just been raw dogging these thoughts, and it's been a real party up in here. Sure, I'm a little behind on my pods. I'm probably missing out on some iconic new Doja Cat verse, but it's been a real treat just thinking. I was thinking so hard the other day that I dropped my tie-dye face mask on the way to Natalie's. That mask cost me $10 in Jamaica, and I've had it for over 3 months. No COVID, by the way. But like the guardian of picking up a trail of her friend's lost belongings on the street, Kara found it on her way to Natalie's. That friendship runs deep. A lot of synchronicities this week. I know who Joe Coy is, of course, and since he and Chelsea Handler have gotten together, I've been like, I've never checked out his body of work. Let me do that. I started with his earliest Netflix special that came out in 2017. He did a bit about how his mother fixed all their colds growing up with Vicks Vapor Rub. How you gotta rub it on your feet and put socks on it to get well. My mother also pushed and pushes Vicks on us so hard, I'm worried she owes the company a favor. Mom, did Procter & Gamble witness you doing something lascivious and now you gotta make sure they stay relevant as medicine evolves? All I'm saying is I never heard you push Robitussin that hard. I found it so relatable that I sent the bit to my Vicks Vapor Rub pushing mother. One day after I sent her the clip, Joe Coy posted the same 5-year-old Vicks bit on his Instagram page randomly. Call me Neo, bitch, cause I'm feeling like the one. That brings us to Rocky's highest thoughts, my most stoned thoughts of the week. Number 1, if you think your life is unfair, Missy Elliot once said the lyric, I eat filet mignon and I'm nice and young, in the song 1-2 Step with Sierra. That song then went on to lose the Grammy to Jay-Z and Linkin Park with their Numb Encore collab. Life is not fair, children. Number 2, calling all scientists. Invent a tool that can slurp out all our period blood in one day. How we're living now is primitive. Frankly, you can do better. Number 3, I wish French fries were healthy. Number 4, Twitter is just away messages for grown-ups. And number 5, I've been living by the pull-out method a lot lately. Except in my case, the dick is my debit card, and the vagina is any purchase I make ever. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. My guest this week is comedian Nonye Brown-West. Nonye's wild word was dating, so I hope your ears are single and ready to mingle, because oh boy, her story is wild. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Wild Nights with Rocky, on Twitter at Wild Nights Pod. If you want to watch extended interviews with all of my guests, please feel free to subscribe on YouTube. A big shout out to everyone who's written a review on Apple Podcasts, and a future thank you to everyone who's going to write one when the episode is over. It really does make a difference. I'm also on Patreon for $2 or $5 a month if your heart cares to support Wild Nights with your wallet, so we can keep expanding the Party God Squad, baby. I would be forever grateful. And now, please enjoy my Wild Nights conversation with Nonye Brown-West. Nonye, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. How are you doing? How are things going for you right now?
I chose the worst time to eat a bite of cake because that's what I just did. But things are going really well.
You know what? Honestly, if you are having cake on a Monday morning, things are going well.
Cake in a jar. Very good.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I skipped breakfast today, but I will definitely get to it after this. We were having like a nice coffee discussion before we started recording. What was the name of the coffee company you were mentioning to me?
Chicago French Press, and they're a Black-owned company out of Chicago. Yes. And they're delicious. They have so many flavors. They have tea also. They've been on Shark Tank, I think. I think I read that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Was it just, did you find them randomly, or was it just doing some research, or were you in Chicago?
So the last time I was on Zoom, before we started, I was saying I haven't used Zoom in so long. The last time I used Zoom was actually for my sister's baby shower, where she sent a bunch of party favors that we were supposed to enjoy during the baby shower. So and cute. she sent, I know, it was very cute. And she sent like a bunch of bags of this coffee, and now I'm hooked. So
that's awesome.
She lives in Chicago, so that makes sense.
Well, that's a good way to do it too, to like introduce people to small businesses. First of all, your sister is the cutest thing in the world, to send a package to all the guests so they can all enjoy it. I mean, we have to think about how to be innovative during pandemic times. We have to keep people together. That's really cute. So shout out to Chicago French Press. Hello to them. And speaking of getting innovative, during these really, really trying times, you said your wild word is dating. And I think anybody who's dating right now knows that there's a Wild West out there. So Nonye, please get into your Wild Night story dating. We want to hear it.
Yes. So I've been out of the dating game for years now because I am married, but my husband has this new obsession with watching dating shows. So I feel like that might be signaling that I might need to get ready again. So I've been thinking it's a sign, I think. Yeah, right? I'm like, oh, you really like these. Okay, I need to get back on Tinder. But
it's a mess out there.
I know, I've heard. Oh my God. But I feel like nothing could be as messy as the story I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Oh my God. And I'm not gonna lie, it's embarrassing to me to tell this story, because it just shows how much in the trenches I was in when I was dating in Western Massachusetts. So I transferred to UMass Amherst from Seton Hall, I don't know, years ago. We won't say my age, but years ago.
Yeah, I got you.
And Western Massachusetts, the first thing I noticed is that there's an incredible lack of diversity even in the schools out there. And the schools the schools are trying harder to have more international students, have more students of color, but when the area that your school is in is known for not being diverse, it's very hard to get people of color to move there.
But I moved appeal.
Yeah, exactly. But I moved there because I thought they had like the best program for me, and they had a bunch of Black professors in my program, and I just thought that meant I would be comfortable there. You just assume these things, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't, but and that was reflected in my dating life 100%. So when I attempted grad school and when I stayed to work for the university and take some grad courses,
you
I
continued
started
your grad program at Amherst?
Yes, because I transferred there with like 2 years left in undergrad.
Gotcha.
And so I always had assumed I would try to get grant funding or whatever to do sort of master's or PhD program while I was there. So I was, dipping my toes in. And I met a chemist at a bar one night. And I come from a very nerdy family. My parents were professors when I was a kid, big nerds. My oldest sister is a huge nerd. The middle sister is a nerd, but pretends she's not.
Gotcha.
It's a whole family of nerds.
Gotcha. Nerd in disguise.
Exactly. And I actually recently confessed to a bunch of my friends this weekend that I do algebra for fun. So that's like that was a big confession to make, because
honestly,
I try and pretend
math is fun.
It is fun, right?
Yeah, math is fun.
So many people hate math. I'm just like, it's just another game you can play.
Yeah,
like when
it's
you're
a
just
little brain
sitting there.
teaser.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like a board game. It's like if you like Wordle, you should try math.
Math
is just as fun. So I met this chemist, and I never dated like a chemist before. I've dated lots of smart men, whatever. But I dated a lot of men that chose to show their smartness in ways, or their intelligence in ways that like selling drugs, things like that.
Yeah. Also, you need good math skills for.
Exactly. And that's how I knew they were nerds. I'm like, oh, this drug dealer knows math, so we'll get along. But yeah, I dated like a steady string of drug dealers, and I met this guy at a bar. He seemed nice enough.
Gotcha.
We went out on a date. It was fine. It did end a little weird. He got jealous I was talking to his friends too much. So that should have been my big red flag there.
But let me ask you this. So he was jealous you were talking to his friends, but you were all in just like the bar setting?
Well, no, he brought me to a graduation party for somebody.
Oh, okay.
Someone was, getting their PhD and moving on. He brought me there and expected me not to speak to anyone, I guess. Gotcha. I don't know what he imagined in his head. But so we tried again. We went on a second date, which I really do count as the first date.
Yeah.
And again, he used his friends as a crutch. So it was more like a double date situation where we went up with one of his friends, who honestly to this day this person is a friend of mine. We kept in touch. So that's good. And so I go out, I meet him and his friend and the person that his friend brought for the date. I forget where we started the night because so much stuff happened after that. And, we have a good time.
Yeah.
And then the friend told us, oh, I live right around the corner. And it's a really cool house. If you guys wanted to just come over now and hang out. So I was like, all right, I like cool houses. I enjoy architecture.
Yeah. I like walls.
Yeah. Wainscoting, cool. Let's go check out this house. So I went to that. It was like literally a 2-minute walk. It was very close to the bar, which should have been my first clue that the man I just met is probably an addict. Right. But, I didn't put the pieces together because, I just wanted to have fun.
Yeah. And you're not thinking that either. You're not like looking for addict clues while you're out on a first or second date. You're like, oh, I'm young and fun, and this is great.
Exactly. Yeah. You just want to have fun, especially when it was like a redo because of weird jealousy things. I'm like, let me just like not judge anything that goes on tonight and just see how this man performs in our group again, So we get back to the house, and all of a sudden, every drug that you could think of starts coming out, starts bringing things out from his bedroom, from the bookshelf, there was a fireplace. He took something out of the fireplace. And, I already told you I dated some drug dealers. So I was not shy to that.
You weren't rattled.
But I wasn't rattled. I was concerned.
Mm-hmm. There's a difference.
And, I was concerned because the variety of things that were in front of me. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh no, I'll stick with like the normal things, like, like weed and whatever.
Yeah.
And then I watched the person I was on the second date with just start taking almost like one of each.
Okay.
One of each.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, he must know his tolerance. He must be sure that nothing weird is going to happen.
What a chemist.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, he's a chemist. He knows his body. He knows what he's doing. I'm not going to judge him, even though I know that drug and that drug don't mix too well, but that's okay. I'm just going to sit here. We're going to continue to laugh and have fun and talk about our interests. So it becomes clear to me also at this point that I'm not going to have a ride home. So I was like, okay, I'm just stuck at this house now because this guy's doing a bunch of drugs, that guy's doing a bunch of drugs. The woman he was with was not really doing that many drugs. So I was like, okay, worst comes to worst, she can maybe give me a ride home. I'm not going to pay her right now. So they start fading very fast. Assume that something in their cocktail that they had just done was like an opiate of some sort, because they started fading like someone on opiates, you know, like just going down. And this house was like completely empty. It had like maybe 5 rooms because it was the end of the semester.
Yeah.
He was living there alone at this point. So they just, you know, choose a bedroom and go to sleep. And so it just left me and this girl talking. I liked her a lot. She was a nurse, I found out.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, perfect, because you might need to do some nurse things tonight. Let's just hang out and see what happens. So I realized, you know, I was like, I'm just going to go back to the bar. Do you want to come with me? Because it was so close. It wasn't even that late at night. So we go back to the bar. Some weird stuff happens there. All of a sudden, somebody starts playing like Irish step music. People start step dancing. I feel uncomfortable as a Black woman. And I'm like, all right, let's go do something else then. Let's go back to the house.
It's no jig for me tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, I was nervous. That was my first time, I think, at that bar, maybe my second. So I was like, oh, they have fiddles on Saturdays at midnight. That's weird. I'm going to leave.
Not your scene. Yeah,
not my scene. I was in orchestra for years, but like, when fiddles come out at a bar, I know I don't feel comfortable. So I gotcha. Yeah. Just felt like I was on the lower decks of the Titanic. Yeah. And then honestly, good imagery for what's about to happen.
You're like, I am letting go.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, see you later, Jack, or not. I don't care. So we went back to the house because, you know, the bar just got a little weird. And that area of Massachusetts, there's not much around. So that was like the one bar that was close by.
Yeah.
So we go back and it seems obvious that somebody was awake now. Like, you know, one of the people that we came with were awake. We couldn't tell who. I didn't really want to go into those 2 bedrooms. So I tried to find a different one. Someone was walking around and like moaning like a ghost, basically.
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah, that one pill you did would probably do that. So I was like, okay, someone's moaning like a ghost. Then I just start to look down at all the drugs that are on the table too. Before I go to the bedroom, like, all right, let me see like if there's anything I actually enjoy here. There's some Adderall, took that, pocketed it. Yeah. There was some other stuff. They had some like whippets too, back before people used whipped cream? The little whipped cream cans for it. It was like an actual like huge tank of whippets.
Oh my goodness.
So it was like very old school. They had balloons, everything. I was like, that's very fun. But it's reminding me of, I don't know, high school, something like really like the 90s. So like, I wasn't in high school in the 90s, but I imagine that's what the 90s was like. Yeah. So, and I do remember seeing those like in high school too. Yeah. But in the 2000s, they were doing that too. But I was like, okay, whippets are fun. Let me fill a balloon. I'll go back to this bedroom. Found another bedroom to lay down in. And we're both still hearing the moaning. So the woman I was with, she had been dating that other guy for a while. So she went like into the bedroom with him and, you know, they went to bed and I went and found my own. And I just stayed up for a little bit because I was just like, someone's a ghost. Like someone's a ghost.
Yeah, this is
there.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you drunk or were you kind of being cautious of how much you were drinking?
I was like, at this point I was drunk.
Okay.
I was probably, you know, I had smoked some weed, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I didn't take that all that night because I didn't want to stay up, but I definitely did the whip it. Like, I was just like, let me let me try and go to bed because I don't know what these noises are. It was almost impossible to sleep. Just like, I guess I got to describe the moaning. It was like, bleh, bleh.
It was
I was like,
very
I've never
purposeful
heard.
ghost moaning.
No, I think this is like, they literally thought they were saying words. Whoever this was thought they were talking, but they had done so many drugs that it was not coming out like words. There might have been some like, I don't know. I don't want to assume, but I think there was like some special K involved, some ketamine. But yeah, so I don't know if you've ever been around people doing ketamine with some sort of opiate, but these are normal sounds that they'll make.
Gotcha. No, I'll be honest, I haven't. A lot of drugs, been around a lot of drugs, but never ketamine, not yet.
Yeah.
The night is young though.
Yeah, fingers crossed you run into some ketamine at some point. They're actually making it a new anxiety medication, which I understand, but it's very easy to not exactly overdose. It's interesting. Ketamine's one of the only drugs I've been around where you have like a pre-overdose before you overdose on it. So it like almost like stops you from taking too much by signaling that you have already had quite a bit. Yeah, it's like interesting. Ketamine's a weird one, but they're trying to make it a drug for anxiety now.
I do know a couple people that do that ketamine treatment, but in a party setting, I've never been around it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I feel I'm a little standoffish about the ketamine treatment. I understand why it would work, right? But it's very easy to do too much. So hopefully, it's very controlled. Yeah. Do you know if it's very controlled?
I don't know the details of I know two separate people who use ketamine treatment, and I don't know the details of how it works, but they do rave about it. And I don't necessarily know exactly what they're treating with it. I didn't ask the details of that, but they've spoken pretty positively about it. But then I have other people I know that just do it on like a Friday night, Oh yeah. So it's like, but I've never seen anyone do it before with mine own two eyes.
Yeah. It's not exciting to be around. I will say that. It's like you'll get there. So I don't know. I don't know if you have read about the like opium dens in the 20s or something, in the 1920s and things like that. Right. But when you walk into a party where everyone's on a lot of ketamine, it looks like those pictures of the opium dens where people are just like laying around.
Yeah, and like pillows and stuff on the floor. Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's very boring. So no one's just going to invite you over to a party where they know lots of people are doing ketamine if they know you don't do ketamine. Because you'll just be sitting there like, oh, no one wants to play Nintendo Switch? Okay. It would just be like a weird vibe,
Gotcha. So there's probably like secret ketamine clubs that we don't even know about.
No, I doubt it. That would be like a level of, I don't know.
Organization.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. No, I just think people are doing them at their house with like other people that do it probably.
Gotcha. So these are the noises you would hear of a group of people doing
normal ketamine user noises, especially if they also were doing opiates, which these people were. Opiate users definitely make these noises. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'd been around a lot of that.
Gotcha.
So at this moment in my life, I was like, okay, I know what these noises are. They're the noises of drugs. So I was like, it was before Uber and Lyft were really a thing too. Yeah. So I was truly stuck at this house.
Yeah.
I was trying to make the best of it. So I finally fall asleep, and I probably fell asleep around like 2 a.m. And I woke up around 3:30 to like a very loud crash. And so of course the nurse is like, I can hear her coming on the scene immediately. Yeah, I hear her like coming on the scene. I am just sitting there like, do I want to see what the fuck is going on? And I'm just like trying to decide for solidly 20 minutes. I'm like, I don't really even know these people. I don't really want to get involved in anything.
Right.
But I decide, I get up, I go out there, and I see the person who I'm actually still friends with to this day, has fallen through a glass coffee table, and broken the glass, and shards of it were in his leg. And some of them were pretty deep in there. So the nurse, there was a 24-hour 7-Eleven, maybe like 2 or 3 blocks away.
Yeah. She
runs to that, see if she can find like anything at all, like sewing kit, anything where she can like
sew
sew him up. Yeah. She had a kit with her, but she like needed something else. I think it was like not hydrogen peroxide, but some sort of cleaning thing. So she goes to the store, comes back, you know, alcohol, all sorts of stuff to to give him stitches in his apartment. He's just moaning. I'm standing there just holding his hand. This guy is covered in blood. You can tell this is pre-coronavirus.
Yeah.
Because no one would put themselves in this situation now. As soon as you saw the blood, you'd just be like, okay, I'm out. I'm just gonna walk 7 miles home.
Put my mask on before I go.
Yeah, ooh, this is weird, guys. All right, later, deuces. No, but I was holding his hand. I was like, oh my God, there is a lot of blood.
Yeah.
I wasn't like squeamish about it, but but you don't know a person and they're bleeding and some of it's getting on you. It's gross, right?
Yeah.
And I have OCD, and specifically the germophobia one. So there were several levels in my head that I had to step over just to hold his hand.
Yeah.
She gets back. She starts doing like Civil War era medicine in this guy's living room. We both carry him into his bedroom so she could finish it off because there was glass everywhere.
Yeah.
So she's just sewing up his leg, using the alcohol, just like trying to keep it as sterile as possible, bandaging him. There were probably 5 deep cuts that she had to do this on. I don't know how many stitches, but it was a lot. And I'm just standing there like, what is going on?
Yeah.
This is the moment where I'm like, you know what? They started doing these drugs at like 12 or 11. The person I came with is probably sober now. Let me go like wake them up, because that person did not wake up.
Yeah.
They slept through this whole thing.
Right.
They slept through the crash, the yelling, the running to go get, grain alcohol or whatever she came back with.
Yeah.
So I go into the bedroom they're in, and there's like an odor. And I'm just like, sometimes when people drink a lot, they'll get that.
Yeah, it comes out the pores.
Comes out of the pores. Smells like they probably have diabetes. That like sweet sweat.
Yeah.
But it's like from the booze. I'm like, I don't know if that's what it was. It was like some sort of like sourness there too. So I like turn on the light, open the door. That person had pissed the entire bed.
No.
Pissed the entire bed.
No.
Just everywhere. Right?
No.
I was just like, oh my God.
You're like, that's what that smell is.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not a religious person, but I was like, Lord God in heaven, like, please get me out of this crack house. Like, I don't even know how I ended up here. Like, I didn't even know that there were students like this. And mind you, both these students were like top of their class. I'm like, I didn't know it took all these drugs to get a PhD and be really good at your program. Like, I had no idea. Like, please, that was probably the moment in my mind I decided to not do grad school anymore. But it took me like another like year or two until I officially was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
But that moment is probably the real moment where I was like, you know what? Who needs grad school? Yeah. Look at this. Look at this Denison right now. It's amazing how quickly I become religious when I'm an atheist. I'm just like, Lord God, please.
You just walk out of his bedroom with like a full nun suit on and like holding your rosary. Like, I gotta go. I can't do this exorcism. This is not my moment.
Just fashioning like a rosary, like out of the pills. It's like, please.
Oh, not the Adderall, not the Adderall.
Yeah, not the Adderall. Pocket that. All these other pills, though. Help, God. It was crazy. I became religious very quick.
Right.
But I was like, no, I need to wake this guy up. I don't care if he's covered in piss. Like, I need to get home. This is crazy.
Yeah.
By this time, the sun was like starting to come out because, it was around the time where the sun was coming out around. I love how I'm pretending I know when the sun changes, like when the sunrise changes throughout the year. Yeah. It's like, I think in spring, the sun starts to rise at this time. No, but like the sun was starting to come up. I don't know what time it was. I think it was maybe 5 or 6 a.m.
We won't hold you to it. Don't you worry.
Yeah, exactly. If any, I don't even know what type of scientist would know that. An astronomer? I don't know.
I don't know either. You're asking the wrong girl.
If any astronomers are listening, sorry. So I wake him up anyway. I like try not to touch him. I just like scream, like, wake up, start screaming his name. He wakes up. I assumed that he was gonna be relatively sober at this point. Wrong. So he wakes up, he starts making the ghost noises and the mumblings. And I'm like, okay, so he is still very, very high off of whatever cocktail he did. I don't even know what to do. Like, I was considering, maybe just driving them home and then driving their car to where I live.
Yeah.
Which I think is ultimately what happened. I think that is what happened. But a lot of other stuff happened before then. So now this zombie's awake and they're just like marching around the house. I was like completely regretting waking them up because now there's this pissed man just walking around the house, spreading like the smell of urine to every room in the house.
Right.
And I'm just sitting in the living room like, oh my God, like what the fuck am I gonna do? At this moment, I'm like, let me take one of these Adderalls because I might actually have to walk 7 miles. Like, so let me just take one of these, get all this energy because I'm probably gonna have to walk home at this point. So the nurse is like, okay, when my guy is sobered up, I'm going to take him to the hospital to make sure that the stitches I did are good and all this stuff, so he can get some tetanus shots, all sorts of things. And then I could take you back as well. It's like, oh, great. Amazing. So she's like, we're just going to go to sleep right now, though, because the stitches are holding. There's no more blood. We're good. And she didn't want to take him to the hospital high because then they would have done like a psych hold, all sorts of stuff on it.
Gotcha.
I understood. I was like, I get it.
She knew the ins and outs, so that was good.
Exactly. I was like, hopefully he doesn't bleed to death internally, but I trust you, right?
Yeah.
So they go to bed. She's like, she looks at what I'm dealing with and she's just, saying that she's sorry. Which was nice to hear in the situation. But I was just sitting there. I don't even know what I was doing. I was maybe playing Words with Friends, just trying to like pretend I wasn't in this situation with this marching around piss monster. So finally around like 8 a.m. She wakes up. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna take him to the hospital. He's like looking kind of sick. But I don't think he's on drugs anymore. And I was like, you know what, just take him, it's fine. I'm just gonna get the keys from this guy, take him to his house, which I knew was very close. It was like maybe a block away, and then take his car to my house. And then just text him, be like, hey, I had to drive your car to get home because you literally trapped me in a crack house. Essentially. So I wake up to like several texts, obviously, because I guess I had stolen someone's car. But listen, do you feel like I had stolen someone's car listening to that story?
I honestly feel like if there is a text message explanation, no. He basically, he brought you to, essentially, you said it was a time before Uber and Lyft. He brought you to a home of people you barely knew, and you had to get yourself out of the situation. So he can't really point fingers at you for taking the car. If you're like, look, I have your car, I'll bring it to you later this afternoon, but you were fucked up on drugs.
Exactly.
Is my opinion. But continue.
Exactly. So there was no theft. There's no real theft. No. But I was getting blown up by this person, like being accused of theft. And it was even more funny because he had a bunch of roommates. He lived in this house that was massive. And there was they called it the name of the thing that they were studying. Like that was like the house for the thing that they were studying.
Got it.
Like the type of chemistry they were studying.
Yeah.
They would throw parties there or whatever. Like anytime there was a new student who didn't have a place to live, they're like, we have 7 bedrooms, like try and find. So I ran into roommates when I brought him inside. So I'm like, his roommates, someone will be able to calm him down and explain, no, like you trapped this girl in a situation. So she just needed to leave the situation. And the only way to leave was to take your car.
Right.
So many texts. So finally the texts calm down and I decide, okay, now that they're calm, I'm going to go take this car back. But I text beforehand. I'm like, listen, I'm bringing your car back, but you have to give me a ride home because I do not live very close to you at all.
Right.
And I'm like, I hope you're sober now because that's what we're doing. I hope you took a shower because you smell disgusting.
Yeah.
I hope you wiped down your passenger seat or I'm not sitting in there either.
Yeah.
So I get there. Oh, actually, I had the car, so I should have wiped down the passenger seat. But you know,
Semantics.
I'm just mad. I'm mad at this point, you know.
Yeah.
But so I get there, and I'm like, "Hey, can you give me a ride?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm very sorry." Like he had calmed down. Someone had explained to him the situation.
You smell like piss. Yeah.
Yeah, you smell like piss. This girl brought you home. You were like on who knows how many drugs.
Yeah.
Second date.
Yeah.
Crazy. So yeah, this man drives me home, and like an idiot though, he's like, "Oh, like let me make it up to you. Like I'll take you on another date."
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I went.
Yeah.
I wanted, you know, listen, I want the payment of the distress that was caused.
Of course,
you know?
Of course.
I wanted the payment of that. Yes, I pocketed some drugs. So people are listening and probably like, that's payment. No. I wanted more payment than that.
And you deserved it.
Exactly. So I went on a third date with this person. I will say the mistake I made was I then started to like actually just date this person. Like I dated this person.
There's more than 3 dates.
More than 3 dates. I did.
Yeah.
MCP pants. I somehow was like, I don't know. I was like, you know what? That was crazy, but I doubt that's going to happen again. I'm an idiot because it clearly did. How many more times do you think stuff like that happened?
I want to say that it happened. This is just a raw dog guess, but I would say that this happened. He put you in about maybe 4 more situations like this.
Okay, 4 is conservative. 4 is conservative.
Conservative. Okay.
Yeah.
Over what was the span of time?
I'm embarrassed to say it was about like 3 years. A 3 year span of time where we were on and off. We weren't like together solidly that whole time.
Yeah.
And I blame his friends being so cool, not the one that I'm still friends with now, though he's fine. He's cool now.
Yeah.
But the other ones, the people who lived in his house, the people in his program, the people they knew through their programs, he had access to more graduate level people of color than I did in my department. My department was anthropology, cultural anthropology. And even though there are a lot of Black professors, that's an area of study that attracts a lot of white people, especially in a very white town already. So I was like, okay, he has all this access to all this diversity that I don't have.
Yeah. He was the diversity plug.
He really was. I was like, you're a mess.
Yeah.
You really are a mess, but your friends are so cool.
Yeah.
And they're way better than people I know in my department.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pretend to like you for 3 whole years. Let's just date this man for 3 years. Let's just see what happens.
Wow.
But yeah, it was crazy. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are, well, that was wild. That whole thing was wild. And I'm Planet Fitness, baby, the judgment-free zone. So you don't have to be embarrassed. This is a safe spot. You do not have to be embarrassed talking to me because I've had some stories myself. So it's no judgment. But I get that the friends thing. It's like people don't understand how important, or maybe I say people don't understand, but that's a huge generalization. Community is such an important thing, and feeling like you belong to a community. And if for you to be in this anthropology community and have nobody who you're like clicking with, but then you've got this guy who's kind of cool. I'm assuming you were attracted to him, obviously physically, right?
I don't even know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I was such a weird dater. Leading up to, actually, I would say comedy is what changed my dating style.
Okay.
Because I used to just like date people who are interested in me. I would have like a bunch of people interested in me, and I'd like choose the ones to date out of that instead of choosing people that I wanted to date. And then comedy is when I started choosing people I wanted to date. Because if you date anyone who is interested in you while you're a female comic, you're going to date worse people than the ones I just described. Right? Like, yeah. Our dating pool is garbage.
Grim.
So I would say comedy was the tipping point where I was like, listen, I need to do better. I need to.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if I was physically attracted to this man now that I think about it,
but he had a couple perks.
He did. He
came with a couple perks.
Yeah, there were perks. The friend group. I will say I'm still friends, like very good friends with a lot of people I met through this person. Yeah, like we talk every week, like we're friends.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. I guess I must have thought he was cute a little bit.
Yeah, there was something probably appealing about it because you obviously, I mean, even though your first couple dates were with other people, there had to be some alone time that the two of you spent together. So you had to
that
enjoy
was like
that.
good.
Yeah, that was enjoyable. And it doesn't seem like he put you on a path where he might have been like super involved in drugs. It doesn't seem like he put you on a path that was
no, because I was already over that. I was already over that stage of my life. Like I no longer thought drugs were that cool. Like
right.
I was like, yeah, like recreationally.
I'm Gucci.
Yeah, you know, I knew how to take drugs in moderation, and that's actually something that I tried to teach him because it became obvious he was never going to do. He's never going to quit.
Right.
He's never going to quit any of the stuff. He was an alcoholic. He's never going to quit that. So I tried to teach him moderation as we dated, and it didn't really work.
No, you didn't.
Of course it didn't. Yeah, no, it did. Yeah, no. I tried to teach him how to, you know, get up and go use the bathroom instead of pissing the bed. That didn't work.
Did he piss the bed a lot?
He pissed the bed, not a lot. I would say that was maybe the 4 times after that.
I would say, in general, a grown adult man pissing the bed upwards of 1 time is a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And he was on like the top floor of this like giant house that he lived in. And the person who lived beneath him woke up more than once being like, you pissed on me in your sleep, you pissed on the ground, and it like trickled down into my bedroom.
Ew, how thin are these ceilings?
So the house was from the 1700s. So it was very like there was no insulation. The insulation was like horsehair. Gotcha. I'm not even kidding. It was like actual horsehair.
And he's pissed so much that he's now eroded the floorboard. So
yeah, that's right. And it just went right through. Yeah, it was like he was an embarrassing person to date in general.
Gotcha.
But you know, he provided access to something that I needed while I was out there, which was a diverse group of friends, a queer group of friends. Just there are so many communities that I was not part of my undergrad there that would have made me so much happier. And he provided access to those communities. So
he was there for a reason and a season, but not a lifetime.
Oh, definitely not a lifetime. But boy, did I get all the stuff I needed out of that situation. So
that's
I'm not
so wonderful. Yeah. And that's I mean, you seem like a very chill person. Like that was like if for
too chill, some might say.
I can relate to that in a big way. So to just be like kind of an observer of this situation, like, yo, my man, I'm gonna need you to wake up really quick. Like your friend is bugging, he's got glass coming out, and to just see the piss and just be like, I'm still gonna chill here. Like some people would have been on that 7777777 trying to get a cab. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, so Amherst, Massachusetts, they don't have stuff like that. Like the cabs like all shut down at like midnight.
Yeah.
Like when you were stranded somewhere in Amherst, like going to that school, you were actually just stranded.
That's actually pretty dangerous.
It is. And I had a car, but I didn't drive it that night. So of course, it's like you know what I mean? It is very dangerous. And a lot of college towns were like that before Uber. They really were. Like Seton Hall was definitely like that because it was in the middle of nowhere.
Where was Seton Hall?
South Orange, New Jersey, right on the border of Newark, but the part of Newark where there's like nothing. Gotcha. Like you cross over the border, there's nothing. So I was walking like marathon lengths in high heels and like mini skirts in the winter when I was at sea, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it used to be like.
I don't know. I get you.
I don't know how old you are or where you went to school or anything, but it was like that. Like we were soldiers, literally, like just to get drunk.
I'm 33, almost 34. But I went to Adelphi University on Long Island, and I'm from Connecticut, but sometimes when people hear Connecticut, they think like very uppity kind of vibes.
My husband's from Connecticut. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's I'm from like Simsbury. Oh, I knew someone from Simsbury. That's about 40 minutes from where I'm from, but yeah, people get the like wrong impression about Connecticut. And I know there's parts of it that are like that, but I definitely like grew up in a super diverse town, and like it was more of a city than rural, and it was like a little beach town and stuff. But college, I went to school in Garden City, Long Island, and the houses were like mini mansions and mansions everywhere. Halloween, they gave out full-size candy bar and they would just leave them on the porch and people would trustingly take them. I'm like, we're not dumping this whole, okay, we'll take one. Honesty policy. Got it. I don't even like Snickers, so I'm going to take two at the next house kind of thing. But that was kind of, I wouldn't say like, it was definitely a little bit of a culture shock for me. It was definitely a little bit of culture shock because my school was not very diverse and I was surrounded by diversity growing up. So that was a little weird. But we were super close to the city and the train station was 1 block away. It was probably like a 7-minute walk away, if that. So I didn't have to struggle too much with like cabs and whatnot. And it was, I think, when I went there, it was like the 2nd or 3rd safest campus in the country.
Whoa, my God.
It definitely felt really safe. So that was kind of my college experience. So I was a little spoiled in that vein, but
I mean, that sounds great. Like, I wish I knew about that school. Seton Hall was close to the train too, but the students there did not like going into New York City to party. And I'm like, it's right there. Why don't we do that more?
Yeah, we did.
They didn't like it.
We did that a lot.
They were very like, let's party near campus. That was it.
We didn't have too many. Yeah, we had a couple bars, but it was like, we also would go to bars with kids from Hofstra. And then there's like this stigma and rivalry with Hofstra kids. And it was a lot of club grinding, sweaty places. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. We had one place like that at Seton Hall, but it was like a hike. So you'd have to find a ride there. And then like hope you found a ride back too.
Which is not your strong suit.
Oh, it really wasn't. I was like, what? Like, I mean, I learned the bus system at UMass eventually, but like at that point, I didn't know, like, I really didn't know where to go. I was like, I just started at this house, so scary looking.
House parties are where it's at now. I want to talk about your comedy a little bit as well. So I saw that you have quite a few shows in New York coming up. One I want to talk about specifically, but and we'll get to that. But as in terms of where we are now with the state of the pandemic, do you find that you're traveling a lot for comedy, or is everything mostly New York East Coast?
Oh yeah, it's funny because I keep forgetting to update that part of my website that's like, Nonye travels all up and down the East Coast, and people always clock me for that. They're like, why does your website say that for your bio? I'm like, I don't know. Now it's just funny to me that says that.
Right.
But I will say I was, when I first moved to New York like 5 years ago, I was like more of a road comic, and that didn't really slow that much during the pandemic. In 2020 it slowed, obviously, but for everyone it slowed. But 2021, it was like fine. Like I was starting to do more road gigs again. And I'm trying to get more on the books because I do like going out on the road.
Yeah, that was my next question. If you enjoyed being on the road.
I do. I love going out on the road. I am trying to focus on writing scripts and things right now too, though. So staying at home is good as well. Yeah. You can write on the road, but it is hard. I think it's harder.
Especially if you want to explore the city a little bit and do your thing while you're there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. What show did you want to ask me about?
I wanted to talk about a good old fashioned hair show with Glow Butler, who Glow has been a guest on the show. So shout out to Glow.
Hi, Glow.
Hi, Glow. So you're doing 2 shows on April 16th at Stonewall Inn, right?
Yeah, we're doing one show at Stonewall Inn on April 16th. And then the next one is at Caveat on May 5th. Okay. So yeah, I came to Glow with this idea that actually I spoke about with Joanna Briley years ago. I do hair. I do it less now because there's so many hairdressers way better than me in this area.
Okay.
But yeah.
Did you do your own hair? Because your hair looks beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. I did my hair. I braid, I do also stuff, I make wigs, all sorts of things. So I came to Glow and I was just like, let's put on a hair show, like the type that you think about when you think of like BAPs and things like that. Like a black hair show with like wigs that are like insane and crazy. Yeah. I know how to make them. I have all this extra hair that I know I'm never going to use on my head. So let me just make some wigs and we'll put on a comedy show. And we have like Khalees Hawkins, as one of the comics. We have Jess Tom as one of the comics, and Dylan Adler.
Oh,
and
Dylan.
Paris Sachet, we think, knock on wood.
Knock on wood. So funny.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just very excited. And the first show is just all queer. Mm-hmm. Those are all queer comics. And we're just going to have a great time at the Stonewall.
That's
on the 16th.
Awesome. Is it everyone will be wearing a wig that you created?
Oh, I would love that. I'm going to give them the choice though. Because
gotcha.
I don't want to like force that on the comics.
Yeah.
But I'll give them the choice. Like I'll have wigs backstage that I made. They're going to be ridiculous. Like one of them has a picture of Rihanna's pregnancy photo on the inside of it. Like they're going to be wild wigs, you know?
Oh my goodness. That's so fun. And that, I feel like that's kind of a show, if you do like have all this wig material and hair material, that feels like a show that you can continuously do.
Yes, I have so much hair. And I was just like, how do I get rid of this hair? I was like, oh, I should finally do that show that I talked to Joanna about years ago.
You could do a wig auction too. You could have one wig for auction and then like just do raffle tickets and have people could pay $1, pay whatever you want, and then you give away that wig.
Oh my God, that's such a good idea. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you.
Oh,
Rocky.
no worries. No worries. So that's really exciting. You have exciting stuff coming up. And is there anything you're really looking forward to this year?
Oh man. Oh, I think just all the scripts that I'm writing, I've been submitting them. So I'm looking forward to hearing back about those and getting more mentorship. Yeah. That's such a boring answer, but that's the point that I'm at in comedy where I'm just like, you know what? Hopefully I get mentorship from writers this year. That'd be nice.
And are your scripts mainly comedies or do you dabble in any kind of drama too?
I do dabble in drama. I'm working on a movie script right now that's dramatic, but all the 30-minute pilots that I have, they're all humor. One of them was very dark and I had to just like lighten it up recently.
Gotcha.
All the notes that I got on it was just like, whoa, you guys are fucked up. So I know, I realized I have like the darkest sense of humor on the planet apparently, and so do my co-creators for that one. So we had to lighten it up a lot. But yeah, usually I have one that's I have an animated series that I've written a few scripts for, and I actually just need to go back and put them in the right format and everything. And that's very funny. It's called Gay Be Jesus.
And is it about a gay baby Jesus?
It's about Joseph and God being a couple and Mary being their baby. Yeah. So
that makes sense, honestly.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
When I grew up like super Catholic. I found out later that we have like Jewish ancestry, like pretty recent too. But we grew up Catholic, and we being my siblings, and just reading the Bible, like my mom like legit made us read the Bible. We went to Catholic school for a little bit. We were reading the Bible, like none of that really made sense in the way that it was interpreted by the church or anything. Yeah. So even part of my focus when I was studying, when I was in grad school, was religion and like using religious texts as like historical markers. Like, you know, they were metaphors for wars that were fought, things like that. But also, I really feel like Mary was not real. So assuming God was real, which I'm an atheist, so I don't think that. But if he were a real entity, I feel like he and Joseph must have been the people dating, right?
It makes
he and Joseph were in love.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, Joseph has to marry this Mary woman. Joseph and I, we want a kid, right? So, I mean, if you read it like that, it makes more sense. The throuple makes more sense, right?
Honestly, to me, I haven't thought about it like that, and it is kind of like raising a couple questions. Yeah, maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe they had some dirt on Mary, and they're like, "Bitch, you're gonna take this baby."
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, immaculate. Not so immaculate for Mary. You know, you got her traipsing through snow to deliver a baby she didn't ask for and didn't even get penetrated for. But so yes, it does make sense. And I'm with you. I'd watch it.
You would watch that, right?
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Thank you for being an audience member for my show that is very slowly coming together. I still need to get the animation done and things like that because I want to show it to people so they understand that it's hilarious. But also, doesn't it make it better that like a 16-year-old would just be a surrogate? Because having a 16-year-old like wife and person that you're boinking is gross, right?
Exactly.
But as a surrogate, It's a little better.
Yeah. Actually,
it makes more sense.
It does make more sense. It does make a lot more sense. It reminds me a little bit, and I don't know if you remember this show, but the first thing I thought of was Clone High.
Oh, I remember Clone High. Yes. It's coming back, I think. HBO Max, I think, is making some new episodes. Like
I vaguely remember that, but yeah, that I heard that it might be coming back, and maybe that I'm just like wishful. I can't tell. I can't distinguish with what's a wishful thought and what's a real, like, is Clone High coming back? But I always appreciate a funny cartoon.
Yes, me too. One of my favorite things to watch are funny cartoons. I feel like we're at a point right now where there may be too many.
Oh, really? You're like,
I think it might be a little too many. I can't watch all of these. Not all of them are great. Yeah. But yeah, I do love a funny cartoon.
I love a funny cartoon. And I'm sure yours will be no exception. Gaby Jesus.
Thank you. Eventually coming out. I used to, like, when I do podcasts, that's something I usually plug, but now I'm just like, you know what? I don't know when it's coming out. So I'm not even going to plug it anymore. I'm going to talk about it, but I'm not going to say coming out this time, because every time I've said that, it's been wrong.
We'll be patient. I personally will be patient, and I look forward to it coming out. Now, can you give everyone your socials so they can follow you, follow your journey, and what's going on with you, and so they know when Gaby Jesus comes out?
Oh, yes. Awesome. I love that. Okay, so I'm just going to say right now, like, when you said socials right now, I'm like, my social security number, what type of podcast is this? No. I had forgotten what it is.
No, email me that. We don't want everyone to hear it. Just, you can email me after that.
So weird that my mind immediately went there.
Well, you did tell me about some of the company you kept in your early 20s, so I understand why you might think that I just asked for your social.
Like, am I being scammed again? What is going on? Like, yeah. Honestly, a good way to summarize me in my early 20s was like too chill. And I'm honestly maybe too chill now too. But all right, so see my too chill vibe at shows, and my website is nonyecomedy.com, nonyecomedy.com. My Instagram is Nonye Fizzle, NONEEFIZZLE. I have a Twitter, and it's it doesn't do that great. I've gone viral maybe 3 times.
Yes.
But it's that Nonye. So that NONYE at Twitter. And I do have a TikTok. I posted one thing on it. And it wasn't even me. It was just like a song. So you can follow my TikTok if you want. I don't do much on there.
I gotcha. Yeah, TikTok, it's like, if I go on there even for a minute, I get sucked in. So I have to be very cautious. I only go on if I'm sent a TikTok by someone else, then I'm like, okay. But I know it is the way of the future. Well,
yeah, they don't pay. So one thing about TikTok though, if you're going to do a TikTok, make sure you also do a reel on Instagram, because the reels on Instagram you can monetize and get money for, but TikTok doesn't really pay you. Like, you have to be doing incredible, like hundreds of thousands of views on TikTok to get paid. And it's not that much, but Instagram reels pay you to do that. And on my friend Chanel's, on her Snapchat, I'm on Snapchat too, but I don't really post on there.
Gotcha.
I have gone viral several times with my cooking.
I didn't even know that's a thing.
Go look at my cooking on Chanel's Snapchat, Chanel Ellie, and I'm getting her more reviews because I'm not going to post my cooking ever. I will not do it. Watch me do it next week. You'll be like, what?
Hey, I told you already. I'm Planet Fitness, baby. Judgment free zone. So don't you worry. If you post your cooking next week, I'll be watching it.
Yeah, you're like, she said she's never going to do this, but we'll get it.
No, it's our little secret, and anyone who listens to this. Yeah. That's it. Well, Nonye, this was so much fun. Your Wild Night story was better than could have even been expected. So I really, really appreciate you doing the show. Thank you so much. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, bye.